as you are looking right now, the umpires have removed the stumps. They have removed the bowlers' discs. The two Diamond Creek batsmen are walking off. Both of them are not out. The Riverside players are giving each other high fives of a good day's work. They have put themselves in a position where they could very well win next week by a very significant margin. They are way ahead of this game, and here is the Diamond Creek players are just cuddling out there to greet the two batsmen who were able to survive to the end. A very polite round of applause there. They'll know that they have not scored enough runs to win this game. They'll know that they have a monumental task ahead of them come next week. As for Riverside, they have done extraordinarily well. When you think of a team that hasn't dropped a game, that's won all 8 games that it has been contending for, the fact that it has put up a performance like this should be no surprise. Restricting scoring to the barest of minimums so that the opposition can only just get over 100 despite having 80 overs to play with is a sure sign that it's been a terrific piece of fielding and bowling for Riverside. So let's just recap what we have seen today. So the toss happened, Diamond Creek batting first. So in the first half they seemed to be going reasonably well as an opening partnership, going at about 2 runs per over and getting to 10 runs after 6 overs. But then the first wicket fell at 13, and then they when they were going at 2 runs and over, and then things started to go wrong for them just about after that. And so then by the time 11 overs had passed, the score had just trickled up to 17. And then the second wicket fell in the 12 over, 17 for 2. And then throughout the rest of the session they basically couldn't score anything. And so you can see where the change happened. So the Diamond Creek had started off their innings scoring about 2 runs per over, which is the norm you'd expect for the first quarter of a 2-day game when you're batting. And then suddenly losing 2 wickets, and all the wind was taken out of your sails, all the momentum was gone, and you were left barely getting through an over with scoring a single run, so that the run rate fell. So, for example, they were on 15 runs after 8 overs. Then, after 15 overs, they were 20. So they had scored 5 runs in 7 overs. And then, by the time the drinks break happened, there had been 3 runs scored in 8 overs. So Diamond Creek had just lost all the ability to score, and it was all a matter, and they had only lost 2 wickets. They'd only lost 2 wickets, which was a good thing for them, but in terms of scoring, it had pretty much shut down after that second wicket fell, or even before, because the 17th run was scored in the 10th over, and they ended up on 20 overs after 18 when the drinks break happened. So very, very slow trickle of runs from that point onwards. Then in the second session, a very long 3rd wicket partnership, a very slow 3rd wicket partnership took it into the 31st over and the score into the 30s. So both the score and the overs were into the 30s. It ended up being 32 for 3 when the 3rd wicket fell. And the entirety of that second session was very, very tight bowling as well. And then there was only that one wicket fell throughout that entire session, right up to the lunch break. So there were only three wickets down at Diamond Creek, but they were only on 36 runs and they had faced 40 overs. So they still had plenty of wickets in hand, but in terms of having any sort of runs, it was minimum. Bare minimum. Then when they came back after the lunch break, things started to become a bit more exciting, both in terms of scoring shots and wickets. So the fourth wicket fell just shortly after they came back from lunch, getting to 42. And then there was a long partnership. Now this partnership involved, for the fifth wicket, involved lots of interesting stuff. Boundaries and twos and threes, so that the score went from 42 after 42 overs to 62 after 52 overs. So 20 runs from about 10 overs. So that was a it was a more interesting period. More scoring shots, lots of aggressive running between the wickets, and it brought about, you know, the opportunity that you could that maybe Diamond Creek could score a 150 score if they kept going. But then the absolute disaster happened. In the 52nd over, they lost their fifth wicket. Then there was the 53rd wicket. And then in the 54th wicket, there was the double wicket maiden. And then in the 55th wicket, there was yet another wicket, an 8th wicket, which meant that they had lost 4 wickets in 4 overs. And that was just the end of a competitive Diamond Creek score. They were wiped out, and now it was just a matter of the tail enders trying to scratch up something acceptable, something tolerable, something better. So, with a full 25 overs to go before the end of the innings, only on 69, 2 wickets in hand, the tail was able to stay out there for quite a long time. Particularly that 9th wicket. The 9th wicket lasted from... So the 9th wicket came together in the 55th over, and they departed on the 71st. So 16 overs they were together, and so they were able to survive through that period, following those 4 wickets and 4 overs. They were not able to score very fast, barely 1 run per over, but the key was they ate up enough time, scored enough runs here and there. But not only was Diamond Creek finally on the way to scoring... Oh, there's a wasp in the commentary box. Not only were Diamond Creek in a position where they could actually reach the century, but now they weren't going to get bowled out with so much time left in the day's play. Why is there a wasp in the commentary box? I'm sorry, everybody. Then the final wicket partnership, and lasted through the final 9.5 overs till the end of Stumps, till the end of the day's play. And so the final partnership went from 87 for 9 to 104 for 9, so 17 runs unbroken, combined with the 9th wicket partnership, which was 18 runs. So 35 runs scored from the final 2 wickets. That is an indication of how well the tail wagged to make up for that horrid 3rd session in which Diamond Creek lost 4 wickets in 4 overs, and they fell apart in an ugly mess. So that's what the game situation is in. 105 runs to win for Riverside in the second innings from 80 overs. It would take a tremendous piece of bowling and fielding for Diamond Creek to win this game. They would have to come up with some amazing set of bowling strategies and fielding plays. So right now the game all belongs to Riverside. They are well ahead of this game. They have been playing so well. It's been phenomenal to see them in action. There's no reason why they can't win this game, claim the minor premiership, and then get a 1v4 semi-final at their home ground. But that's all for the future, and that's all for us at Channel 8. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week to watch the Riverside Run Chase. Until then, have a good week, and then we'll see whether or not Diamond Creek are able to defend this very small score, or whether Riverside will chase it down. And who knows, maybe Riverside will try to get themselves into such a position where they could win outright, even though they don't need to win outright to secure the minor premiership. The fact that they could win outright would be a huge psychological blow to Diamond Creek, because there's a very good likelihood that Riverside will play Diamond Creek in the semi-finals as the 1v4. Alright, that's the end. So, this is Channel 8, the local sports network. We film local cricket around the northern Melbourne Diamond Valley area. We have our partners, Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I am your host and commentator, Chukka Wilson, and I'm also the managing producer of sports production here at Channel 8. You have been watching round 10 of the Barclay Shield here at Coventry Oval in Diamond Creek. It has been Diamond Creek versus Riverside, 1v4. Today is the 10th of February 2018, and we are playing in the 2017-18 season. Alright, goodbye, and we'll see you next week for the Riverside Run Chase.
The flicker of a TV and a long forgotten memory are the only things you'll ever leave behind. The dust that's on the floor, there's no one at your door. Now tell me, do you really think you're free? The war is done, my friend. You fought until the end, and threw your white flag down. Morning, noon, and night, you always seem to lose the fight. Spaulding, where the hell are you? The pull of the ocean is set into motion, and now you're on your way. Today is the day when you're going to swim to Cambodia. Once were little pleased with the fire of your younger days. You blinded everyone you met, but you never were the same since Dublin's night consumed your flame. It stole the matches from your pocket. The Hudson's freezing, but your brain cells keep on squeezing round the thought that you must swim away today. From the Staten Island ferry on the coldest night in January, it's Cambodia or bust. Once had feared the man who held you in his hand. He controlled you in your sleep. But now the end's your friend. You're reaching to extend your white flag to the sky you once had cursed. sinking and your frozen eyes are blinking at the cold Atlantic nothingness ahead. You take a deep sigh and you wave a passing goodbye, and you set your course and swim away. The pull of the ocean is set into motion, and now you're on your way. Today is the day when you're going to swim to Cambodia.